The first time Daniel froze in that glass-walled boardroom, it wasn't because of the towering skyline outside or the weight of a job interview that could decide whether his daughter would eat properly that month. It was because the CEO herself stepped close, fixed his crooked tie with calm, steady fingers, and leaned in just enough for him to realize his eyes had betrayed him, lingering where they shouldn't, at her lips, at the kindness he hadn't seen directed at him in years, at the possibility of something he had long buried. His heart thundered like a warning siren, and in that suspended moment, everything he thought he knew about power, dignity, and second chances began to crack open. Before the story pulls you deeper, take a second to pause and breathe this moment in. If you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in the quiet miracles that happen between broken people, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope today, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel. And tell us in the comments where you're watching from, because stories like this connect hearts across the world. Daniel Harris had not planned to be a single father by 32. Life had rerouted him without asking. One rainy night, one distracted driver, one hospital corridor that smelled of antiseptic and grief, and suddenly he was alone with a 6-year-old daughter named Lily, whose small hands clung to him as if he were the last solid thing left in a shaking world. Daniel learned quickly that grief does not pause for bills, and love does not cancel rent. Mornings became a blur of packing lunches, tying shoelaces, and pretending everything was fine while the cracks spread quietly inside him. Nights were worse. After Lily fell asleep, he sat on the edge of their narrow bed, replaying memories and wondering how long a man could keep going on exhaustion and hope alone. The job interview at Ardent Solutions was supposed to be another polite rejection, another thank you for your time email that would arrive 2 days later and remind him that experience mattered more than effort. He had borrowed a jacket from his neighbor, ironed his only decent shirt twice, and practiced answers in front of a cracked mirror while Lily watched with wide, serious eyes. She told him he looked like a superhero, and that was enough to make his throat burn with emotion. He promised her he would try his best, a promise that carried the weight of her entire future. Ardent Solutions was everything Daniel was not. Polished, powerful, confident. The receptionist barely glanced up as he signed in, his shoes squeaking slightly on the marble floor. He felt every inch the outsider, a man carrying invisible baggage into a world that valued perfection. When he was ushered into the boardroom, he did not expect the CEO herself to be there. Evelyn Carter was a name whispered with reverence in business articles and podcasts. She was known for turning failing companies into empires, for her sharp mind and colder reputation. Seeing her in person unsettled him. She was composed but not distant, observant in a way that felt unsettlingly human. As Daniel stood there adjusting his tie with clumsy fingers, nerves tightening his chest, Evelyn noticed. She stepped forward without ceremony, corrected the knot with practiced ease, and in doing so crossed an invisible boundary that made his breath hitch. He had not been touched gently since his wife passed. Not in that simple, human way that carried no obligation. His eyes lingered unintentionally, drawn to the warmth in her expression, to the curve of a smile she barely allowed herself. He realized too late that he was staring, and the moment etched itself into his memory, not with embarrassment alone, but with a strange spark of something he had forgotten how to name. That interview did not go as expected. Daniel spoke honestly, not flawlessly. He talked about gaps in his resume, about nights spent working freelance after Lily slept, about learning resilience the hard way. He expected judgment. Instead, Evelyn listened. Truly listened. When he left the building, he felt lighter, even though he told himself not to hope. The call came 3 days later while Daniel was cutting apples for Lily's lunch. He got the job. Not just any job, but a position that paid enough to breathe again. Lily danced around the kitchen, laughing, and Daniel cried quietly into his hands, overwhelmed by relief and gratitude. What he did not know was that this was only the beginning of a much harder, more meaningful transformation. Working at Ardent Solutions was demanding. Daniel arrived early and left late, juggling deadlines and daycare pickups with military precision. He made mistakes, corrected them, learned fast. Evelyn noticed. She noticed the way he stayed after meetings to clarify details, the way he spoke with humility but confidence, the way he carried exhaustion without complaint. She also noticed the shadows under his eyes, the way his phone background was always a smiling little girl, the way he stiffened when coworkers joked about weekend getaways and carefree nights. Evelyn's own life was a carefully curated structure of success and solitude. She had built walls so high that even she forgot what lay behind them. Loss had taught her to choose control over connection. Watching Daniel navigate his world with quiet courage unsettled her in ways she hadn't anticipated. She found herself scheduling meetings with him, seeking his input, lingering longer than necessary. It wasn't attraction at first. It was recognition. Two people shaped by loss, standing on opposite sides of power, seeing something familiar in each other. The real test came when Lily fell ill during a critical product launch week. Daniel tried to manage both worlds and failed. He missed a deadline. Panic clawed at his chest as old fears resurfaced, the fear of being disposable, of losing everything he had just begun to rebuild. When he stood in Evelyn's office, head bowed, bracing for consequences, he felt smaller than he had in years. What happened instead changed him. Evelyn did not see failure. She saw a father choosing his child. She rearranged timelines, redistributed tasks, and told him to go home. That act of understanding cracked something open inside Daniel. He had spent so long proving his worth through sacrifice that he forgot worth could also be acknowledged through compassion. Their bond deepened slowly, carefully. Lunch meetings turned into conversations about life, about the strange weight of leadership and loneliness, about the cost of loving deeply and losing anyway. Daniel spoke of Lily, of bedtime stories and scraped knees. Evelyn listened, absorbing a world she had convinced herself she didn't need. She began volunteering with him at Lily's school events, quietly, anonymously. For the first time in years, Evelyn felt present in something that wasn't driven by profit or prestige. People noticed. Rumors whispered through hallways. Daniel worried constantly about perception, about being judged, about risking the stability he had fought so hard to secure. Evelyn, too, wrestled with fear. Power made every emotion suspect, every kindness questioned. But something stronger than fear grew between them. Trust. One evening, after a charity event hosted by the company, Daniel watched Evelyn across the room, radiant yet distant, surrounded by people who admired her but did not truly know her. He realized then that love did not always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it arrived quietly, through shared burdens and unspoken understanding. When Daniel was offered a promotion that would place him directly under Evelyn's leadership, he hesitated. The lines were already blurred. The risk felt immense. Evelyn addressed it head-on, ensuring transparency, ethics, and choice. Daniel chose growth, not just professionally, but personally. He chose to believe he deserved good things without punishment. Lily adored Evelyn in the way children do when they sense safety. Watching them together healed something in Daniel he didn't know was broken. Watching Daniel with Lily softened Evelyn in ways success never had. She learned that strength could be gentle, that leadership could coexist with love. As the months passed, their story became less about rescue and more about partnership. Two imperfect people choosing to stand beside each other, not above, not behind. Daniel learned that his past did not disqualify him from a future filled with warmth. Evelyn learned that vulnerability did not weaken her authority, it enriched it. If you're still here, still feeling the quiet ache and hope woven into this journey, take a moment to engage with this video. Like it, share it, and let us know it touched your heart, because stories only live when they are felt. Just before this story closes, I want to ask you something simple but meaningful. Please comment below what this story made you feel, or who it reminded you of, because your words might be the encouragement someone else needs today. In the end, Daniel no longer saw himself as a man defined by loss. He was a father, a professional, a partner, a survivor. Evelyn no longer stood alone.